Mass Effect is a critically acclaimed series of science fiction role-playing games, highly regarded for their narrative, character development, world building, and emphasis on player choice. From simple choices such as which weapons to upgrade, which abilities to master, to choices of life or death. Choosing your team, choosing which of your companions will stay behind, and who will stay by your side. Who will fight for you, who will protect you, and perhaps eventually, who will fall in love with you. Unless you're gay. Hi, my name is JTurn, but you can call me Jake, everybody does, and today I'm going to be talking to you about one of my favourite game series of all time. It's been going on for f***ing ages. I love it, and a remaster just got launched, which I'm very excited about. It's Mass Effect. I know I don't have any costuming about that today. Normally I like to do a little half-assed costume. Oh, I have some Nerf guns. That looks kind of Mass Effect-y, right? Phew. I'm not gonna hold that for the whole video though, sorry, that's not happening. So if you're in this video, you may well already know what Mass Effect is, but if you don't, here's the elevator pitch. Sorry, I've got a bit of mustache in my mouth. The Mass Effect series is a kind of third-person shooter, role-playing type game where you take control of a character called Commander Shepard, or in one of the games, a Pathfinder called Ryder, and you can develop their abilities. There's kind of like space magic, there's guns, there's like some physical weaponry, like it's cool. There are currently 4 Mass Effect games, an original trilogy and a one-off called Mass Effect Andromeda that had a famously rocky production process. I won't go into that today, big story, but yeah, 4 Mass Effect games. The most direct comparison is probably like, you know, if Dragon Age was in space. Have you played Dragon Age? It's all BioWare, so like that's kind of the template they were working from, I think. As in Mass Effect. Mass Effect came first. Mass Effect was born from Knights of the Old Republic. No, that's not relevant. I like Mass Effect a lot. I'm a big fan of the series, okay? And I know that the title is, you know, it's kind of, it's a YouTube title. Okay, I wanted to get you in here so that I could tell you my piece. But no, this isn't like a call out video or anything like that. This is a story. This video is a story about how some Mass Effect fans have been closed out of the experiences other fans of the series have got to have, and how Mass Effect have recognized that and tried to fix it over the years, and where they've failed at doing that. I'm going to tell you right now, I like this game, and this is a story of one facet of the series that I found very interesting. A 2017 article by Steve Wright outlines the total availability of romantic partners in the game, and gay males have by far the least amount of possible pairings. In the entire series of Mass Effect games, there are 5 romantic options for gay men. 5, I hear you say. 5? What do you want, some kind of gay space commune? Yes. They exist, by the way. Space is gay. Obviously, I'm talking about by comparison to other available partners. Straight female characters get 12 potential romances, lesbian female characters have 14, and straight male characters have the most at 21. So yeah, you know, 5 is looking pretty small now, isn't it? Like I said a second ago, this isn't gonna be a fire and brimstone video, okay? Like, I know I kind of probably had to do like a clickbaity title and a nice little thumbnail to get you in here, to talk to me, spend time with me, hi. But that's just the YouTube world we live in today. Obviously, there are some issues of representation in this game that go much further than gay males, and I understand that in the queer spectrum as gay males, there are a lot of privileges we have that other people don't. I'm not trying to change minds or change the world with this video, okay? It's just a story about representation for gay males in Mass Effect. But before we start getting real gay, let's talk YouTube. I am a small channel, and any interaction that you can give me is really, really helpful for my growth. So if you could give me a little like and a comment, YouTube loves that double whammy. They love seeing the two together because it really lets them know that you think my videos are just the bee's f***ing knees. Do you know what I mean? And I could really use that. I could use that kind of reputation out there in the algorithm, right? If you can't think of what to comment, you leave me a little rocket ship emoji, and we can all pretend it's the Normandy and that we're all in there as a squad. Or not, we wouldn't all fit, probably. If you're interested in supporting me as a creator, I also have a £1 Patreon, and there will be details about that in the description below. So let's get into it. Let's get into the meat, the beginning of our story, the launch of the very first Mass Effect game. Here we go. Mass Effect 1 launched in 2007, and just the whole culture of everything was so different back then, okay? Like, I think because at the moment we all have a living internet in our lives that is constantly shifting, it's easy to forget quite how different and how unacceptable certain things were, even just in 2007, right? Especially in like, I mean, I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings, so I'm just going to power through this as quick as I can. Gaming is obviously a very insular kind of community that gets defensive against any kind of change. This was exacerbated on the launch of Mass Effect when they included a bisexual character, Liara. Now, I say bisexual and not just bisexual because, like, on paper, Liara is an alien called an Asari, and Asari are actually a monogendered race. They don't have gender, so the idea of bisexuality might not necessarily have the same kind of connotations, but they're quite obviously coded with feminine features, okay? Their thing is that they keep their race genetically diverse by mating with other species. And so she's very happy to she's very happy to have a romantic relationship with your main character, whether they are male or female. Basically, when this happened, there was like a shitstorm in conservative media, okay? They were absolutely outraged that you were able to pursue a lesbian relationship with an alien in this game, okay? They went full hog. Like, I think there was also like an infamous fake Fox News story coverage saying that there was like nothing left to the imagination, that there was like full sexual nudity in it, and that was just so wrong and crazy. And they wanted our children to get in these graphic nude scenes, and like, it was just... It was a shitstorm, okay? And it actually affected the ongoing development of the next game, which, like, we'll talk about in a bit. We'll get to that. But it was very evident for any gay man playing this game that it was not for you, okay? You can enjoy it, it was not for you. Like most things made these days, it was made for male heterosexual gamers. In a fantastically titled article called "To be Gay in Mass Effect is an Act of Rebellion," Kenneth Shepard points out, Mass Effect's heteronormative agenda veers into problematic areas of consent. On several occasions, female characters will touch Shepard in suggestive ways just for finishing quest lines. Completing missions for characters like Shiala and squadmate Miranda Lawson and not being cold or indifferent to them will cause them to stroke Shepard's arm, and in Shiala's case, express an explicit interest in him. To Mass Effect 1 and 2, a man helping a woman cannot go unrewarded. The galaxy is Shepard's harem, and in the first 2 games alone, there are nearly a dozen women ready to view even the smallest of gestures as an invitation to assume romantic or sexual intent and act upon it. This game clearly, as so many games were and are, was an insert of fantasy for heterosexual male gamers. There was not gay content. Players modded in some gay content with a character called Kaidan, who we'll talk more about later, because there were unused, mistakenly recorded voice lines in the game that they could sort of patch in. But then I think I've read, I haven't done this myself, but I've read that there are like some incorrect pronouns in places because there's not enough lines to cover all of the dialogue. Anyway, it's really interesting. But there was never an intention to represent gay men in this game. And to summarize on Mass Effect 1, I'm going to leave you with another quote from Kenneth Shepard. Getting through Mass Effect 1 and 2 with your identity intact as a gay man is an act of resistance. It's to look a heteronormative world in the face and say, no, you will not define who I am in this universe. So then a bit after that, Mass Effect 2 launches. And this is where some corporate bullshitting happens. But let's begin by saying, like, this game, again, wasn't made to represent gay people, okay? It is very male-gazy still in a lot of ways that informs you that it was made with the male heterosexual gamer in mind. The fact that in the remaster they've had to reframe so many shots so they don't just focus on asses is kind of evidence of that, right? But this time around, what's different from Mass Effect Mass Effect 1 is that we have a reason why gay men haven't been included. But in this 2010 article on IGN, Ray Musica, the founder of BioWare, had this to say when asked if Shepard would be getting any gay relationships, after getting such positive feedback about the gay relationships in Dragon Age. Here's how the games are different. Dragon Age is a first-person narrative where you're taking on an origin and a role, and you are that character at a fundamental level. It's fundamentally about defining your character, including those kind of concepts. In Mass Effect, it's more of a third-person narrative where you have a predefined character who he is, or she is, but it's not a wide-open choice matrix. It's more choice on a tactical level with a predefined character. So they're different types of narratives, and that's intentional. So what he's saying is there's no gays in Mass Effect because Shepard is a defined character. He's a third-person character. What part? His history, his backstory, which you can change at the beginning of the game to your liking. His age, which you can change when you alter his appearance. His gender? No, you get to choose that as well. Maybe it's his skill set. No, you can pick that as well. You can choose whether he uses the space magic, biotics, or guns, or technology. Maybe it's his personality then, right? Like his morals. No, that's a game mechanic that you can choose his personality and his morals. It's the Paragon Renegade system. Like, I don't see how this holds any water, okay? Like, it's kind of just a really shitty PR non-answer. So, like, what part of Shepard is supposed to be rigid? Because if it's just the part where the male version of this character, who already intrinsically comes in two different sets, one of them can't be gay. Like I said, shitty PR non-answer, and basically translates into, I don't want any more controversy for my game. That's right, subterfuge. An interesting twist in our story. Since we've reached our beautiful year of 2021, some of it might be from earlier than that, some of this info, I don't know. We found that this game was queerer, and they cut it out because of what was going on with the first game when it came out, and all that ongoing kind of controversy and stuff like that. It was affecting, as I said earlier, callback, the ongoing development of Mass Effect 2 that was happening while all of that shit was blowing up. Jonathan Cooper, an animator on the game, confirmed that they'd animated male-male romance scenes between Shepard and Jacob, which they'd matched shot for shot to Brokeback Mountain, to be like, well, if people like this, the censors surely can't throw this out if we put it in a game. But no, one rule for them, one rule for us, he said. He says he was told America isn't ready for it. This potential gay romance was cut. Brian Kindregan, one of the lead writers, also says that the character of Jack, who is this like sick biotic lady, and she's like really punk and everything, like was going to be pansexual. So late into the development process, in fact, that there are voice lines in the game where she talks about boyfriends, girlfriends, none of them are worth it. Like, it's in there. It was so late in the game that voice work was locked in before they decided to take all of this stuff out. The voice actress for Jack herself was, convinced that Jack was going to be pansexual. It was like news to her recently that you couldn't romance her. We're entering speculation territory now, okay? I have no evidence for any of this, but if this game in 2010 got so late into the production process, having on your team a bisexual black man and a pansexual butch woman, I think that there's an open-minded, progressive creative team behind that. And I personally think that, someone who only thinks about the numbers upstairs, someone on the corporate level, vetoed parts of it to do damage control on the game. Like I said, you remember when I said that like some corporate bullshitting happened in this chapter of our little story? I think 11 years ago when Ray Musica said that there was no gay in this game because it was a third-person narrative and Shepard was a defined character. Yeah, it's media-trained PR bullshitting to cover up the fact that they didn't want the conservative media to shit all over their game again and potentially harm sales with like bad public image. And so because of that, because of all the little corporate picking, these two characters that I think would have been great representation at the time, probably groundbreaking representation at the time, had their identities chopped up into little tiny bits for the tiny little baby mouths of conservative media with all the bits they didn't like picked out. And that just fucking sucks, man. That just fucking sucks. Do you know what I mean? It would have been so good. So if you're keeping count, 4 Mass Effect games, we're 2 in. gay men still have no romantic representation in these games whatsoever. There is zero. So, shall we move on to the gay? We got some space gay, some gays in space. That's right, Mass Effect 3 launches and we get some gay romance. Oh yeah. But you know, and a crumb of gay, a little gay, a gay aperitif. Two stories that are kind of like beautiful in their own way, but also like just, you know, Steve Cortez is a brand new character, a side character, a character you can't take on missions with you, a character that just sits in your ship a lot. He has cool cutscenes, right? I'll give him that, he has cool cutscenes. But he's not a squad member. But his character is basically that like he's a man who was married, he had a husband, and he's lost his husband in the ongoing space war. If you haven't played these games and you haven't figured out there's gonna be some kind of space war across these games, then you're probably you're a few steps behind. But he's very lovely. Yeah, he's fine. He has cute interactions with James Vega down in like is that the brig? Is that the brig? No, the brig's like the prison, right, on a ship? Or is it? Or is the brig like a makeshift prison? Is the brig where you keep like guns, cannons? I don't know. A lot of boat stuff carries off into spaceship stuff, right? Who knows? Gay. Let's get back to the gay. The big bad meaty gay that you get in this game is that Kaidan, who I mentioned earlier, I think you remember I mentioned earlier, now you can romance him as a male Shepard. But he has like a confession of love to you that's just like so nice. Kind of like shuffling and weird and uncomfortable, and he's not in Mass Effect 2 at all. He's out of your party because you make some decisions he doesn't like. So he's been there over the course of all the games, and in the first game, you know, you guys were really close. In the second game, obviously, he's at a distance from you because he doesn't agree with your actions. By the third game, when you're reunited and he's been like gravely injured and stuff, he's just like, I don't know how much longer we've got. I love you. I'm in love with you. I've got feelings for you. And it's just kind of like, while it feels added on at the end for gay men to romance Kaidan, it then casts it in this light of this kind of really beautiful, distant pining that I just am really into, okay? I used to read fan fiction, I like a slow burn, so I think what they did here was really, really clever, because they managed to sidestep the issue of him never being in love with you before because he was pining. And he didn't know that you would feel the same way back. He thought that you were too important, I don't know. It's just, I like it. Like, I like that retroactively there's this like unrequited, unspoken gay love between them as fate kind of pushed and pulled them through the time that they've known each other, through the war. I just like that. That's so gay. That's so cute. And so that's that, right? Gay men have been represented. There's gays in space, and the problems are cured forever, and Mass Effect is on this brilliant upward slope of representation, and the next one's just going to be spilling with gays, right? They're going to be chromaticering their way out of the seams of this box. It's just going to be full of them. You'd think so. You'd think so. But nah. 5 years later, after a very rocky production process, like I said, the development process of Mass Effect Andromeda is fascinatingly but there are plenty of videos that exist on that already. I'm just here to talk about the gay shit. Difficult production process doesn't focus on gay people, so like, why would I talk about it? So the next Mass Effect game comes out. It's Mass Effect Andromeda, and this is the one that I'm old enough and financially independent enough to really be excited about, right? Like, I loved the trilogy, and now I'm super into it. I cannot wait. And you're expecting by now it would be spilling with space gays. It's not. Listen, I'm not trying to say that Mass Effect should have made the whole game, just filled the whole game with gay men just to make up for lost time. Ooh. What was I saying? Yeah, I'm not saying that they need to make up for lost time and really cram this thing with gay boys, but this game has only 2 gay romance options, and neither of them are squad mates. The 2 gay romanceable characters in this game are Reyes Vidal and Gil Brody, who was played by Renly Baratheon, by the way. The more you know. But they didn't, how can I say this right? They didn't feel special in the way that, say, maybe Caden did, where you can't, they're not team members, so you can't take them out on missions, you can't spend time with them, you can't hear their unique dialogue as you bump over the crest of a hill, you can't give them specially crafted weapons you've invested time into to make them better. They're just there for you to occasionally, well, I mean, for Gil at least. Gil is there for you to occasionally walk up to so that he can dispense a funny gay quip at you. Reyes is a bit more interesting because he has like an involvement in an ongoing storyline, but outside of that, his content is closed. You can't like openly spend shitloads of time with him, I don't think. Maybe I'm misremembering that. You know, comment below if I am, tell me off, you know, show me up. Embarrass me in front of all my pals, I deserve it. Patricia Hernandez as well also explains that part of what people didn't like about Reyes and Gil is that they were made with generic assets you could use to make your own character, rather than exhibiting unique facial characteristics that are available to squad mates. Details like those, combined with their sparse plotlines, also contributed to the fandom's fear that gay romance options weren't given much care. If they're not a gay squad mate, you can't have like conversation trees with them, you can't banter with them out in the wild, you can't hear to them talk to your other friends, it just feels lesser, okay? But guess who does get to have a squad mate as a love interest? That's right, everybody else. And what makes this low gay representation even more notable is that there is an achievement called Matchmaker. Andromeda features an achievement called Matchmaker, which asks the player to complete romances with 3 different characters. Straight, bi, and lesbian characters can complete the achievement without wading outside of their sexualities, but strictly male gay characters can't. 3. Sorry, gay boys, you've only got 2, haven't you? Sorry, gay boys. Oh, so you're a completionist and a gay boy? Sorry, you've got to take one for the team. You've got to step outside. You got there's only 2 for you. By now, the studio had already released Dragon Age Inquisition, which had pretty great representation all around, and if you were a gay male, you had 2 romance options. You had Iron Bull and you had Dorian, and they were both on your team. Yeah, like technically those games were developed by different teams, okay? But by now, thanks to Dragon Age and the improvements in Mass Effect 3, BioWare was really kind of benefiting from this positive social image of being, like, having good representation in their games. So yeah, people did expect Mass Effect Andromeda to have much better representation across the board than it did, because they'd already seen BioWare doing it before, and BioWare had this image off the back of like Dragon Age Inquisition of this kind of diversity of representation. People wanted Dragon Age gayness or better, they did not want less. Listen, okay, I've romanced plenty of female characters in games just because I liked them, I liked their character. Making me romance a female character to get an achievement, it's not a hate crime. What I'm trying to say is it's just illustrative of the things they were paying attention to and the things they weren't, and that matters. And later on, they actually added a gay romance for one of your alien squad mates, Jarl. So I feel like they know it matters too. I played Andromeda pretty close to release because, like I said, I was a big fan, so I had that pre-ordered, and so I played through the game before Jarl was romanceable, and I already had like a pretty good like brotherly kind of platonic connection with him, right? I didn't really see him as like, I didn't want to jump his bones, so I didn't go back and romance Jarl, so I can't really attest to the beauty of that love story, okay? I can't. But yeah, as a long-term fan, I do remember being disappointed by the romantic options available to me when it came out. Really disappointed. This was my favorite game series, okay? Even as a gay gamer who couldn't, you know, find gayness in the game. And I would be lying if I said it didn't sting a little that after Mass Effect 3 took some steps towards me, I waited 5 years for Mass Effect Andromeda, and it felt like it took some steps back. Listen gamers, I know what you're thinking. Why can't you just play the game, gay boy? Why are you so worried about getting some men in your cabin? Why don't you go out and save the universe from the space war and the giant ship-sized aliens and stop making everything about being gay? Well, I'm not going to answer that. I'm going to let the director of Mass Effect answer that for me. In a video game, you've got combat and you're choosing what goes into your inventory and all those things. And for me, what makes those things interesting is that it's set in the story you care about. You have relationships and squad members that you care about, and that's what gives meaning to all the actual game systems. The fact that you're modifying a weapon, if you know that weapon is the one that's carried by a character that you really like, or someone that's your love interest, it means something different. And it kind of brings it into the realm of reality, and it makes you think differently about it. Squad members and characters' relationships are always part of it. I think Casey and his team realized they were excluding some of their fans from having those experiences they were talking about that were so important to the process. When Casey was asked why gay romances were added to Mass Effect 3, this was his response. Things evolve smoothly, and at some point you realize you need to change the way that you're doing things. With Mass Effect, we started out with the idea we had previously, which was that we'll build up what the player's able to do. You can be this character, but it's not just the character we give you. It's not just the character we give you. It's a character that you're designing how they're going to look, and you're going to have a lot of control over who they are. Then we'll add that you're going to have a romance, so we'll give this character his romance, and we'll add that you can be a different gender, so you can be a female Commander Shepard, and we'll have a romance for that. And as we add things into this simulation, it starts to become a more and more complete simulation. At some point, people realize that the things that are missing from the simulation become conspicuous absences. Our goal is always to be inclusive, so that's why we made changes for Mass Effect 3. And I think from what he's saying, you can kind of really see the roadmap of representation in the whole series, right? It begins as a third-person story, which is probably why Ray Musica referred to it as such at the time. But Casey's development team wanted to go further. They wanted you to feel more integrated. They started adding one by one different ways for you to feel more immersed in this character, to feel more at home in Shepard. They add more customization, they add more control. You can be a man, you can be a woman, you can be black, you can be white, you can be a soldier, you can be a biotic, you can be a paragon, you can be a renegade, until, like he said, the things that you can't be become more visible by exclusion. You've given your players almost every way to insert themselves into Shepard, apart from quite a major part of their identity. And I don't want the, oh, being gay doesn't define me crowd coming in here on that either. Like, oh, get some self-love. Being out and gay in the world just affects how people define you. It affects how you interact with media. It affects how you relate to everything. It is a lens through which you view the world. You see and do things differently to people that aren't gay. That's just the reality of it. And this piece of media I have always found myself at home in. And the development of the series and the words of the people making it gives me hope when they launch this new Mass Effect game that they've been talking about, that they've been teasing, that they're going to let me get in that ship, get out into space, and be gay as f***. So, thanks for listening. That was the story of gay representation in the Mass Effect franchise. It started off rocky, and then less rocky. It's a really good game series. Listen guys, I'm super excited to play the remaster. I've been waiting for it for ages, for years and years when there was no news of it. Me and my boyfriend Ben were desperate for it to come out, and now I just can't wait to sink my teeth into it. Even though they haven't added gay romance into it, right? Like, I don't care. It is what it is now. That's fine. I can look forward to the next game and what it's going to bring. And that's going to be sick. Again, leave me a little spaceship emoji if you didn't know what to comment before. Leave me a little like and a comment. It really, really helps my channel grow. A lot of time and love goes into the research for these videos, and I really, really hope you enjoyed it. Yeah, £1 Patreon in the description. I love you lots. Space is gay. Okay, bye.